Hi guys, this is Tech Howdy. I welcome you to another video tutorial on creating an ASP.NET Core featured image gallery with Angular 8. In the last video tutorial, we created the database using Entity Framework Core's code first approach. In this video tutorial, we will be working on the GalleryController class, which will contain all the methods that are required to add, update, and delete galleries. Now, in the controller, that class that we are going to create is going to be a web API. So we already have a sample data controller class which contains a example web API method in it. What we want to do is right click here on our controller class and create a new C# class and call this as gallery controller. And from our sample data controller class, we can copy the required references to assemblies and paste it in our newly created gallery controller class. Now the next thing that we want to do is, since this is a controller class, we need to inherit our class from the base controller. So base controller class, which is a part of Microsoft ASP.NET Core.MVC controller. Now the next thing that we want to do is add the route reference to our class. So route, and the way we will access this class will be API / the controller name, which in this case would be gallery. Now the next thing that we would want to add is create application DB object. Now we are going to create our property that is going to be used to communicate or connect to our database, and we are going to do this using a dependency injection. So as you know, if you have seen the previous video tutorial, in our startup class we have instantiated a service in the pipeline which is responsible as soon as the application starts to create a connection to the database. So as soon as the application starts, a service will be running that will be constantly communicating with the database. So what we want to do is inject that service in our class. And to inject that, first thing that we want to do is we are going to create a private property that can only be accessed by this class and not by any other classes. It's going to be read only, and it's going to be of type application DB context. First thing that we want to do is add the missing reference to data folder, which contains the application DB context class, and here we will call this object as _db. Next thing we want to do is create a constructor, and we will instantiate our objects in this constructor. So first thing is application DB context DB. So our _db is equal to this newly instantiated object. So as soon as our constructor is executed, constructor method, the application will inject the instance of database connection, which is db context, and then it will assign it to this variable. As mentioned earlier, that the service is already running, so it will automatically find it and inject it. Next thing that we want to do is we need to also know uh, information about the hosting environment, like we need to know the gallery path, the folder path, and for that we need to access the hosting environment. So we will be using the interface I hosting environment, call this as, and also let's create an object here which is private read only of type iHosting environment, call this underscore env. Now also let's add our missing reference to this, so let's do that. Our hosting environment class is part of the Microsoft.ASP.NET Core hosting assembly. So once we add this, we should not see any errors. As we proceed coding the methods, we will see how we are going to use this object. So let's also initialize it here in the constructor. So e underscore env is equal to env. Once again, this will be injected using dependency injection. We will get the iHosting environment object and then assign the value to this read-only object. Now we are going to create API method to get all galleries. So the API method, the first method that we are going to create is going to get all the galleries. So it's going to be get I'll just say list of galleries. So makes it more specific, and this method is going to be of HTTP get, because we are going to get the information using an HTTP get request. And to access the method, we will access it using the method name, so the action method name. So now let's create a public API method, so which is going to return an iAction result, and we'll call it get image gallery. So all this method is going to do, it is going to return a list of galleries that are stored in our database. So first thing we're going to do is create a result object here, and using our database object that we have created, we will access the gallery entity. So the gallery entity we have created in our ApplicationDB context. So whenever we want to get information from our gallery table, we will get it using Entity Framework Core, then store it inside this galleries DB set or database set, and then we will access it using that object galleries. So the galleries will contain all the list of galleries that were fetched from our database, and then what we want to do is convert it to list. So what we want to return here is an HTTP response. So we're going to return OK, HTTP OK, which is response to 100. What we want to return is the result. And what we want to do is select using some link query select. So we will call this as gallery, as in G. We'll use some lambda expression here, G. So what we want to do is we want to have control over what we are going to send to the client when they are making an API call. If we just send the result, you will send the result with all the properties, which will include the properties that you created in your model class. So when you return the gallery list, it will contain the time created, the gallery ID, the title, all these properties will be returned. But if you want to control what you want to return, what data or what properties you want to return, then we will first get the result, and then we will select only those properties that we want to send to the user. So Here we will create a new object using link query, and what we want to do is we will say g dot gallery title. So say gallery. So what we want to do is gallery, I think g dot title is it? Yes, is, and then we want to return g dot gallery ID. So we can have control on what we are sending to the user. So let's fill out this information. So I'm going to send the gallery ID, the gallery title, the time it was created, time it was last updated, if the gallery is active, if it's featured, the gallery type, and the username. So this information will be sent to the client as a response if the response is a success. So if you want to send only the gallery title and the gallery type, then you can just add two properties here and remove the other properties. Or if you want to send the entire result as it is, then you can just return the result over here without adding any select method to it. So in this way, you have created your first API method, which will return all the gallery images as a list. All the galleries as a list, not the gallery images, all the galleries as a list. Now, the next API method that we want to create is to get the featured gallery. This method here returns all the galleries, but this method now that we are going to create will only return the gallery which is featured. So return only featured gallery, because that's the one we are interested in displaying in on the home page. That's the gallery which is only featured. So to return the featured gallery, we will create a HTTP get method again because it's a get request. And once again, this will be accessed using the method action method name. So you can just copy here. So public method, which is going to return a result of type I action. Call it as get featured image gallery. So every featured image gallery that we will be requesting, or the client that will be requesting, the client will be providing the type of that featured image gallery. So as we all know, our gallery has a gallery type associated with it. And if you have seen the demo that I have uploaded, where every gallery, when we create, we have to specify what type of gallery it is. So let's look at the demo before we code this method. So here is the demo of the gallery, featured image gallery. And if I go to the admin section and check the featured image gallery uploader, as I told you that each gallery has a gallery type associated with it. So when we are creating a gallery, we have to specify for what we are creating this featured gallery. So we are creating this featured gallery for our home page. Therefore, the gallery type is home. If we are creating it for a particular category page or a brand page, then we have to select the gallery type accordingly. Since we are creating the gallery for the home page, the gallery type here is home. Therefore, every time when we are requesting the featured image gallery, we are making an HTTP GET request, we have to specify what type of gallery we are requesting. Therefore, in the method itself, in the request itself, we have to also specify the gallery type. So we will say gallery type over here. So every time a request is made, the request will be received with the gallery type. Therefore, this gallery type information will be provided in the route. So it comes from the route of the request. So from route, and it's going to be a string. This string will be called as gallery type. And we will look at this when we are coding or when we are testing it in the front end. When we build the gallery and when we request this method, we will see how the request is sent. We will set a breakpoint here and we will debug it so that we can understand better that what exactly we mean by passing parameters to the route. So now let's go ahead and continue coding this method. So we are going to request a featured image gallery by providing the gallery type. So now let's first check if the model state is valid, and if it's not valid, we are going to return a bad request. If any information we receive here which is not valid, for example, we are expecting a string type of a gallery, but we receive an int or decimal which is not valid, request is a bad request. So we want to send a bad request response back to the user. So let's do that. So here we are going to say if model state is not valid, return bad request. Next thing that we want to do is we want to create an object called as result. And here we are going to write a query, a link query that is going to get the featured image gallery from our database using Entity Framework Core, and that is done by accessing the entities that we have created. So directly we are not writing any SQL query, we are writing some link query that is going to be executed on the DB sets that we have created. As you all know that DB sets will actually store the information that is received from the database, and we are accessing that information from this DB sets, not directly from the database. So now going back to our get featured image gallery method, what we want to do here is inside the result we are going to write some query. So let's go ahead and write the query. So first thing that we want to do is from g in underscore db dot galleries, from the gallery tables where g dot gallery is featured. So we want to make sure that the gallery is featured equals to true, and g dot gallery type equals to the gallery type that the client is requesting, which comes from the route. Also, the third condition that needs to be satisfied is that the gallery needs to be active. If the gallery is not marked as active, then it would not be displayed. So all these conditions needs to be true in order to display the result. So if the gallery, the result that we receive, we should make sure that the gallery is featured is true, the gallery is active is true, and the gallery type matches the gallery type of the that is requested by the client. So that is done for the gallery table. Now the images associated with this gallery are stored in a different table called as gallery image. So we need to join two tables here using link query. So the way we will do it is by using the join keyword, join I in underscore db dot gallery images. So this is the another entity that now we are going to query, and join this on g dot gallery id is so equals I dot gallery id. So join the gallery images where gallery id of the first table, which is galleries, is equal to the gallery id of the second table. So every image, gallery image that we have created has a gallery id, and this gallery id is the same as the gallery id So what we are doing here in the query, we are saying get me all those images whose gallery ID matches the gallery ID of the first table. And finally, what we want to do, we want to have control over what we are sending back to the client as we did here in the previous method. So we will select and then create a new object and then send the properties as a new object. So all we are going to do here is going to add these properties. So what we are saying is, so gallery ID is equal to gallery ID, gallery title, path, username. So we are just matching, we are sending. So when this information is sent to the client, they will receive all this as an array. So we want to make sure they receive it as an array which contains all these keys and values. If you don't want to show certain values, you can remove them from this list. And if you want to show all these values, you can have control as I did it in this method. So once we have the result, all we want to do is return a OK response because it's an I action result. So we're going to return an OK response. And in the OK response, what we want to do is return the result. We have already sorted this result on what we want to send. All we want to do is just send a result now. So this was it for getting a featured image gallery based on the image gallery type. So we have created two methods, one which returns the list of all galleries, second which only returns the featured gallery based on the gallery type. So we will further code this class and all the required methods in the next video tutorial. If you have any questions, please use the comment section. I'll be happy to answer them. And you have also learned a bit of joins using link query. So I like this. It's way better than SQL. It's not that it's less efficient or it's more efficient. It's just that if you have worked on SQL and you have used joins, then this should be quite easy for you to understand. So thank you once again. I'll push this code into the DeveOps repo so you will see the changes. And if you have any questions, you can always once again use the comment section. Let me know if you have any other requests as well, so I can make that I can add that in the upcoming video tutorials. So anyways, once again, thank you once again. Please like and subscribe my channel Tech Howdy. See you in the next video tutorial.